This is the Jocko Underground Podcast, number 96, sitting here with Echo Charles. Have you ever heard the expression, or I guess it's actually a tagline, in a world of compromise, some don't?
I don't think I've ever heard it.
You ever heard H&K, the firearms?
Yeah.
H&K.
and Koch.
Yeah. That, back in the day, and I mean... back in the day.
Hell yeah.
Like when I was back at Team 1 back in the day, we used H&K weapons. We used the H&K MP5. MP5K, as a matter of fact. And great weapon. That's actually one of the best weapons. If you've ever heard me talk about home defense, I say the H&K MP5 is actually a really good choice.
Yeah.
It's a really good choice. It's a 9mm submachine gun,
right,
which means you're not going to get crazy penetration through walls and stuff. It's ultra accurate. It's easy to shoot. If you put a suppressor on it, it sounds like this.
Bro.
Like when you put the suppressor on that thing, the HP5, the MP5 SD is what it's called, suppressed.
But you can't have that kind of stuff as a citizen.
In California you can't.
Right.
Yeah, because California is insane.
Yeah.
No, they have rules.
Yeah.
They have rules that don't make any sense to anybody, but they have rules.
The rule, and I don't want to go too deep into the political elements, or this is what it feels like. It feels like people who don't really know that much necessarily about guns and that kind of stuff, they're like, hey, I'm going to make a rule that makes me feel like more comfortable with the overall kind of feeling. So it's like, hey, if we just allow everyone to have any guns, everyone's just going to go to war and it's going to be blood on the streets, kind of a thing. Like, it feels like that's what they're basing it on. That's why they're like, oh yeah, the pistol grip. Like, just no pistol grip. Where it's like, it barely even has it's more annoying for sure if you can't have the pistol. Or they put that weird thing on the back or whatever. It's more annoying, but you still can shoot whatever. It's like, it's a weird.
Well, here's the weird thing. So yes, you're right. It's dumb. Because they make this law that you can't have a pistol grip. And so the gun manufacturers go, okay, well, what if we put this weird like plastic thing so it's a little bit too big to get your hand around?
Yeah, your thumb.
Your thumb around.
Yeah.
And so now it's not a pistol grip anymore.
Right.
And it passes the law.
Yeah.
Now what's really messed up about that is, like, let's say you decided, well, I'm going to break the law. In 13 seconds, you could just carve that thing off and you have a pistol grip.
Yeah.
So doesn't actually prevent anything.
Right.
Doesn't prevent anything at all.
Yeah.
That's why I thought what you were going to say is the people that come up with these laws, they don't actually know what they're talking about. They don't have any idea. They get some weird word like pistol grip and they go, well, the pistol grip is bad.
Right.
And so they say, we don't want a pistol grip. So put the thing where you can't put your thumb around it.
Yeah.
Makes almost no difference whatsoever, and if you wanted to, you could take it off in 3 seconds.
Yep. Yeah.
So
it's it's one of those things where you get this. This is what it seems like, because I'm not in the boardroom when those laws are being made, so I don't know what's on their mind, and I can't read their mind. But if you get a bunch of people together and no one knows what they're talking about, they'll be like, hey, what can we agree on? Okay, we don't want people just going to war with 10 million guns and bullets and all this stuff, right? So who has the first idea for a rule to keep that from happening? And the first guy will be like, oh, well, the magazines, or they don't even know, don't they call them clips or whatever?
No, you don't call it a clip, actually.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So they'll be in there, the thing that the bullets go in or whatever. They shouldn't hold a bunch of bullets. They should only hold a handful of them. That way, if, it's safer, or, it's not as, destructive, right? And so everyone's like, oh, that sounds good to me. Never shot a gun in their life, by the way. But they'll be like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. That'll keep the destruction down, right? Okay, boom, book it. Sign it up. Or, all right, what's the next rule?
Yeah,
and they'll be like, well, and the next guy will be like, oh, well, I got a picture of all these guns, right? So when I was a kid, there was this one called a Tech 9, right? There's this gun, Tech 9, right? It was a BB gun, and I looked at it and had all the holes and all this stuff in it, and it looked real cool. And my uncle was like, yeah, that one looks cool. It looks real menacing. Right? It's a menacing looking gun. So this guy in the boardroom, they're making laws. They're like, here's all the guns. You got a hunting rifle. They got all this stuff all the way down to a Tech 9 or all the MP5, all these ones, right? got the suppressor on there, got the scope on there, got all the cool stuff on there. But to them, it just looks menacing. They don't know what it's for. They don't know the function of it. They're like, hey, that one looks pretty scary.
Yeah.
Outlaw all that stuff.
And gun rights people will constantly take like a very innocent standard, I shouldn't say innocent, but just like a standard hunting rifle and just deck it out so it looks super menacing, even though it's the same exact gun. It just has some different parts on it.
Yeah.
And they go, this is the same weapon as this.
Yep.
And then they can take a weapon that has a much more deadly capability and they can dumb that one down and be like, so it looks less menacing.
Yep.
But the people that make the gun laws don't know the difference between these two things.
Nope.
And I'm not even sure they know what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Well,
that's a weird part.
Often it's said that what they're trying to accomplish is just no one can have any guns and whatever they can do to inhibit that. And the gun manufacturers just take the law and go, okay, how do we just get around this? Yeah. And that's what they do. They go, okay, we can get around this by doing this little thing. Cool. Like they put for instance, in the magazines. Hey, you're not allowed to have more than 10 rounds in a magazine. Okay, so they put a stopper in the magazine that if you felt like it, you just take that thing out and now you can load 30-round mag.
Yeah.
And yet, this is a law.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just...
One you're a criminal, one you're not a criminal.
Yeah, and what does it prevent? What does it actually prevent? If I can get rid of this thing in 3 seconds, then what does it prevent? It doesn't prevent anything. Yeah. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we actually doing? Being idiots.
Yeah.
Being idiots. So, anyways, I was talking about H&K.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
H&K, weapons manufacturer. And so this was their motto back in the day. It might still be there, but in a world of compromise, some don't. And I remember, you kind of think, I would hear that as a young frog man. And I'd think, yo, that's what I'm talking about, That's where we're at. I had a t-shirt, actually. Like we would do some conferences or there'd be something where we'd meet H&K or whatever and they'd give us t-shirts. And I had a badass t-shirt. And this was back in the day, there was no t-shirts wasn't really a thing yet. Yeah. Like, for instance, you and I make 80 t-shirts right now, right? Sure. Where t-shirts are a thing. Back then, they weren't a thing, really. Yeah. Like, you weren't just having t-shirts with different stuff on them. But they had one that had it looked like a pencil or like a pen and ink, real fine detail, almost photographic quality drawing of like an entry team. Like a 3 or 4 man entry team stacked up, getting ready to go do an entry on a building. And then it just said, in a world of compromise, some don't, and I had that shirt, bro. It said H&K on the front. I had that badass thing on the back. And of course, I'm low pro back in the dirt,
Hell yeah.
So you're never wearing anything like that. And they didn't really exist. It's not like today. There's so many tactical companies out there. Yep. And people that aren't even tactical wear tactical shit all the time. They're wearing tactical hats and tactical t-shirts and so there's a lot of tacticalness, right? The tacticalness has increased a lot. But back then, you would never. There was no one that was wearing anything tactical. So having a shirt that was kind of tactical, no one knew what it meant, but we did. I did. Yeah. So it sounds cool. Sounds badass. Here's the thing. Let's think about what life is like, normal life, if we do not compromise. So it's cool when you're making a weapon system that you don't compromise. You want that thing to be as absolutely supreme as you can make it. Cool, we get that. But let's think about life if we don't compromise. How do we resolve conflicts if we're not going to compromise? Right? You're going to have to wait for a miracle. What kind of friends, what is your friend group? What does your relationship group look like if you never compromise? I mean, just think about that for 28 seconds right now. And someone wants to go to dinner with you and you know where you want to go and you never compromise. Oh, your wife wants to go to a different restaurant, but you're only eating sushi. And she wants Italian, and this isn't like one night. This is never. Every time. Never compromise. Yeah. When you aren't willing to compromise, it closes your mind to other perspectives. It also creates animosity because now all the people that you don't compromise with, they don't like you. They return the favor, by the way, as well. They're not going to compromise back. So now what we have is animosity. That's animosity with other people outside of our team. Within our team, guess what? If we never compromise, we only do it my way, we only follow my plan, we only implement my rules, I never compromise, I'm going to have animosity inside my team. It's going to create stress. It's going to create conflict. It's going to reduce trust. It's going to reduce trust because I'm not compromising on anything. Everything is just my way. It inhibits flexibility, right? You would think that, well, yeah, it must be that way. That is a little excerpt of what we are doing on the Jocko Underground podcast. So if you want to continue to listen, go to jockounderground.com and subscribe. And we're doing this to mitigate our reliance on external platforms so we are not subject to their control. And we're doing it so we can give you more control, more interaction, more direct connections, better communications with us, strengthen this legion of troopers that are in the game with us. So thank you. It's jockounderground.com. It costs $8.18 a month. And if you can't afford to support us, we can still support you. Just email assistance@jockounderground.com and we'll get you taken care of. Until then, we will see you mobilized underground.